being president is probably the most important job in the world. Or, I mean, at least it seems that way. Me, along with many other people, have often wondered what it would be like to be in the hot seat. You know, how would you handle it? What do you stand for? Do you reach across the aisle? I mean, it's an interesting thought, and for a select few people, it was and is reality. But it's something that gaming rarely tackles. That's where this new game, The People's House, comes in. It has you play as the president, navigating the scary and unpredictable workload that comes with it. This isn't just about passing bills, it's about making deals, balancing power, and deciding how much of your principles you're willing to compromise in order to get something done. This game has a lot of character building, much like Suzerain. You're not only concerned with your political life, but it also asks you to manage your personal life as well. At the start of the game, you get to decide where you came from, choose what state and what party, Republican or Democrat, you belong to. Sorry to any third party fans out there. That's just, not realistic. I would definitely try winning an election sometime soon. Maybe you'll get included next time around. And then you get to decide how your political career began. Were you a journalist, a former Marine, or the lackey of a corrupt businessman? This choice will reverberate into the connections you have and how you're perceived when you finally get sworn in. Now, after a hard campaign against President Bennett, he's the opposite party of whatever you are playing as, you are now finally in control. But before I talk farther about the game, one, please like and subscribe. And two, I should probably reveal something about this game. It is interactive fiction. That's right, that means that it looks like this. But don't be scared. Don't be scared, please. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot like other political games like Suzerain. There is just no visuals. I know that's a hump to get over. There is no visuals. This plays like a choose-your-own-adventure game book, that you would read as a kid. But there's a lot more choices. There's a lot more to it. I mean, I hate to keep on comparing it to Suzerain because I think games should be able to stand on their own. But that's really the only other comparison I can think of. Is a deep political journey, just entirely text-based. There are no resources to manage or cities to build. It is just all about navigating being the president. I think this game shows off politics really brilliantly, and I think it incorporates some of the more modern issues that politicians face. It also has just a really completely different feel because of that factor, because you're facing real and modern issues. You can choose to face issues in a somewhat realistic manner to what current politics is like, or you can choose to sort of reach for the stars. Whether you're facing issues like healthcare or unemployment, you also, at the start of your term, have access to some executive orders to sign, and they're broken up into Democrat, centrist, and Republican decisions to make. And you can choose which of those to enact, and that will affect how the public sees you, as well as how party leadership sees you, no matter what party you're affiliated with. So yes, you can be a Democrat in this game and only do conservative actions, or be a Republican and only sign progressive actions. At the start of the game, you get to choose what your first focus of your campaign will be. After choosing what issue to face, whether it's education, healthcare, unemployment, you now have to figure out how you're actually going to solve that plan. So the leadership of both parties will come to you with a plan, as well as a more moderate position from your party, with a moderate path for the administration to follow. Your choice will decide how leadership and how the public view you, and also it's going to decide how hard the bill is going to be to pass. I mean, you can pass some pretty radical things like trying to bring single-payer healthcare, or more commonly known as socialized healthcare, to the US. That's going to be pretty hard to pass, even within just getting all the Democrats to vote yes on that issue. And then after maybe passing the bill in the House, you get stonewalled by a senator who's trying to kill it in committee, and he wants a bribe to stop holding it up. I think this game shows a pretty realistic look at how bribes and corporations play a big part in the political process. Now, I'm not going to sit here and, say like I have definitive proof that, politicians are taking bribes. But, do feel free to look it up, use a little bit of common sense. It's obviously pretty common. Or, of course, if it's not straight out bribes, it is being bribed by corporations through PACs. And there are many chances in this game to accept bribes from shady businessmen who you have to do a few favors for, and then they'll give you pretty massive amount of money for personal and PAC decisions. So if you're not American, that might be a somewhat confusing topic. So a super PAC, or political action committee, is a way to funnel massive amounts of money to a candidate. So in America, if I want to donate, me personally, conduit, I can only give, I believe, $5,500 per year to a single candidate. However, if you donate to a super PAC, there is no limit to how much they are actually allowed to take. So I could give $10 million. Because they are not technically giving money to candidates, they are paying for their own ads, their own flyers, which are supporting a candidate, but the money is not actually going to the candidate. So a bit of a, I don't know if I want to call it a loophole because it is expressly legal, but if you have enough money, you can put a lot of pressure on the outcome of an election. And that shady businessman of yours will offer you choices like putting an associate of his in the cabinet or vetoing certain bills for money and favors that you can use to campaign for yourself and your party. In this game, you play through your whole first term and can campaign for your hopeful second term, or you can choose not to run again. In this game, you can radically change the course of the country, and the epilogue of the game will reflect on how you're remembered. Did you bring socialized healthcare to America? Did you end unemployment? Were you impeached? All of your choices affect the outcome and situation of your administration. The more bribes you take, the more your corruption goes up, which can cause a lot of troubles later, especially if some people start to do some digging. Do you fail to pass bills, which leads to a terrible showing in the midterms halfway through your term? All of your decisions really reverberate throughout the game, and they all interact with each other. There's also, as I mentioned, a lot more personal aspects. You have kids, and you have to manage your relationship with them and how you want to treat them. Are you a good father? Are you a good husband? Obviously you are the president, and your relationship will start to strain as you have to manage doing one of the most demanding jobs in the world while also wanting to spend time with your family. And this game also gives you the chance to cheat on your spouse and continue on the great legacy of many presidents like JFK, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, FDR. There's a very long and storied tradition of being president and cheating. But your personal actions can, of course, affect your professional life. Feel free to ask Bill Clinton how it worked out. Not too bad for him, but... So as you continue throughout the game, there is a stats menu where you can see where your relationship stands with every major character and faction in the game, whether it's your wife or party leadership. So I think this game has really strong writing. I think you really get a feel for the characters, what they're like, their relationship with you. While there is not a deep, insane amount of world or character building, I think a lot of blanks can be filled in due to it being a more modern game. You play as the 50th president. You already probably know a little bit about what's going on around the world. It doesn't explain everything to you. The game also doesn't go into specifics too much, so it's not like you're getting a specific GDP number that you have to increase. It is more so, vibe-based. If you make good decisions, good things will happen. Other characters like your staff will talk to you and say, hey, we're doing good. So it's not like there's an actual stat or anything to look at in regards to how the economy or your country is doing. It's all communicated through text. The game does have over 400,000 words, with a single playthrough being around 2 hours. There is a pretty decent amount of replayability, whether it's choosing a different party to run as or how corrupt you're being. There are a lot of different ways to approach situations, but going along with saying that, I do have a few complaints, one of them being that in a few decisions in-game, there's an objective best play to make. There's like a choice that you're going to pick every run no matter what, because it gives you the most popularity increase. Like there's one where a hurricane hits the coast and you have to choose whether or not to institute a mandatory evacuation. You always take more of a popularity hit for not choosing to make the evacuation mandatory. I think that's a little shallow. I don't know if a president would nationally lose population points because they chose not to make the evacuation mandatory. I think it's more likely that people might dislike the president just because a hurricane happened. There are a couple of other choices like that in game where I kind of wish that there wasn't just such a ultimately better decision. I guess I would have enjoyed if those were more just role-playing opportunities as opposed to stuff that definitively hurts your presidency. The game also does slow down through certain points in the game. Like after the midterms, you almost exclusively focus on your new campaign for your second term. And that is due to the fact that you lose control of the House, but there isn't just a lot going on. There isn't that much legislative action happening during this time. Now, I think the slowdown does make sense because it sort of reflects the real world. It shows that in real life, when you are a lame duck president with an opposing Congress, it is pretty hard to pass legislation. If you have one whole section of the legislative not willing to pass anything, you can't really get much done. Of course, there are still a few bills to sign off on, and you can't make any executive orders during this time because the game really just start to focus on your campaign. But other than that, I really don't have too many complaints. I think it's a lot of fun. If you enjoy politics, I would definitely give it a try. I know it's going to be hard for some people to get over the hump of no graphics. But if you enjoy politics or political games, I mean, try it out. There is a free demo for the game. And this is really an experience that not a lot of games even attempt to cover. So definitely check it out. You can see if it's your speed or not by playing the demo, which I will have linked below because it's not on Steam. I know. It just keeps on getting more and more attractive to play. But if you enjoy politics, I would try it out. That is all I have. This has been Conduit. Please remember that Jesus loves you.